All right, guys, little special guest that we have on the show today. This is, something that the Barfly Tailgate show has been dedicated to, and we're honored to have her join us today. We have Mrs. Madeline Goodman from the Allen Robinson Within Reach Foundation. She's actually the managing director of the Within Reach Foundation. It's been a pleasant partnership with the Barfly Tailgate show. We love having her. We love having, being involved with everybody. Madeline, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show. We love working with you guys. So
absolutely.
Well, we love working with you, Madeline, and it's an honor for us to be able to help you guys and the foundation just extend, your reach to, wherever. If it's people watching our show in Dubai or England, or there's so many people, and for those folks to give back, it's truly a blessing. There may be some new folks who are just kind of learning about Allen's foundation, and I was kind of hoping you could give them a little bit of insight and a little bit of background on the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. So Allen technically started this foundation back when he was with the Jaguars, and then when he moved to the Bears in 2018, he brought the foundation with him and has been so dedicated and so excited to do work in Chicago. The Within Reach Foundation is dedicated solely to providing educational resources to inner city Chicago students or low income students and families that kind of need more support or more resources to put success within reach for them.
And this year, 2020, or this past year, because we're now in 2021, has been a year like no other. I know it firsthand. I'm a member of my local United Way. And this, it's just been a struggle for every foundation trying to raise funds. What has it been like for not only you guys at the foundation, Allen as well? He's had to change a lot of programs that you guys are working on with him in order to keep things, kind of running like they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. 2020 is definitely crazy for everyone. And we are definitely hoping for a less crazy 2021. But 2020, so you guys kind of are aware the two major programs that Allen had kind of been working on or launching with his foundation were our Reach for a Book rooms. So those Reach for a Book rooms usually would go into Boys and Girls Clubs or schools in Chicago, just to kind of renovate spaces and provide kind of thousands of books for students to be able to have access to them. And then the other one was obviously Operation Elf, which was one of his favorites. There's actually a photo behind me. I don't know if you can see it, where he is kind of getting to work with these students and take them on a shopping spree, all of that fun stuff. Obviously with 2020, we've all barely seen Allen, so he's not really been able to kind of be around the community. None of us have, and especially in cities like Chicago, students haven't been in school. So It was kind of hard for us to kind of figure out how we can really make an impact. And what we kind of saw very early on in 2020 was that one of the major problems that we were seeing with students and their families was lack of access to meals and food. And so whether that's students who were only getting a meal at school and then no longer had access to that because they weren't in school anymore, or just because, so many layoffs and so many people losing their income with 2020, we really felt like that was an area that fit within his foundation and how we could still support. And so back in March, we launched his 12K for 12 campaign, which you guys were a huge part of. And ended up just killing it, crushing out of the water. We had outpouring of support from across the country, from his teammates, Trubisky and Leno, both donated to the campaign themselves based off of their jersey numbers. And so we ended up raising close to $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insanity. It was like 96,000 pounds of food that we were able to donate through the Greater Chicago Food Depository for students and families in Chicago. So it was huge. It was huge. We obviously, when we initially launched it, we're just hoping to match Allen's 12K that he donated personally, which is awesome. That's just the kind of person that he is. It crushed out of the water. And because of that, have actually decided to incorporate hunger permanently into Alan's foundation pillar. So you guys will kind of get to see that moving forward in 2021. More to come on that, but that's something that isn't going anywhere. So
that's awesome, Madeline. I mean, the fact that, it's funny. Like, I sit here and I know that, we're tweeting and we're talking about it on our shows, but then to hear, from you that's something that we had a hand in. So many people that follow Alan and the network that had a hand in. That's spectacular.
It's crazy when you think about like the reach that it had nationally. Like when it was happening, I was trying to, one of my big things that I was looking at was like cities. And I don't think there was a state that was missed. Like, wow. when it was all said and done. Bears fans are everywhere. But yeah, it was crazy. So,
yeah, absolutely. Now I know I've told you guys before, and we told Alan when he was on the show, my sister is actually a Chicago public school teacher. So I'm in the military. I haven't been back. I'm only back in Chicago when I can, but she's a Chicago public school teacher. And that's like the meal thing is definitely, something that's, plays a big part and is of great assistance to them. And now, with them being out of school and all that, trying to keep up, an education level in that. Now, if, and I hate to bring up the bad news, right? But there's a potential that Alan isn't with the Bears next year. How does the Within Reach Foundation, how does all this carry on if something was to happen, where they don't franchise tag him or he's not in Chicago next year? What changes for the Within Reach Foundation at that point?
Yeah, so obviously, regardless, and you've heard him say it, and it's not just talk, he really means it. Alan, regardless, is very dedicated to the Chicago community. He knows that they've really embraced him and love him, and he's embraced them and loves them right back. And so no matter whatever money funds that we've raised in Chicago, they will absolutely stay in Chicago. That doesn't change. The impact there doesn't change. We actually have one more Reach for a Book room, regardless, that is promised, that will launch no matter where Alan is. Hopefully, we're able to kind of get him in person to the launch, but obviously with COVID, you just never know. But regardless, that will at least open up at some point whenever we're kind of able to get through the COVID restrictions and make that happen. And then again, while he's still in Chicago, any funds there will stay in Chicago. If Alan ends up somewhere else, obviously the Within Reach Foundation will go with him. That's something, his foundation, that he just is very, he's not parting with it. We're not going anywhere. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you? It's 100%. And we'll be, either way, I'll still be donating. We'll still be right there with you. Yep. I just wanted to ensure that, that everybody listening to the show and the Chicago fans know that, that everything that, he's doing for Chicago stays in Chicago, and that, the character of the player that we're hopefully keeping, and hopefully is staying in Chicago for a long time to come. But, us as fans, we know how that organization is currently running, and I'll just leave it at that for right now.
I'm kind of going to throw you a curveball, Madeline, because I don't want to skip over A Night Within Reach event, because I feel like, Bobby and I were actually able to watch, and, just seeing and talking to yourself and Austin about how successful it was, being that the first time it was ever virtual and all that. How was that for you guys, being a virtual event and still having as much success as you had with it?
It was honestly, it was almost as crazy as the Hunger campaign, right? Like every new thing in 2020 kind of, even when you thought you'd seen it all, it kind of brings this new, like, oh, wow, like, nope, we're still doing it. It's still happening. So it was awesome. It's kind of just a testimony, I think, again, to like how people receive Alan, and the person that he is, and the impact that the foundation is having, and the supporters that we have, honestly. I can't say enough about that. I think having it virtual obviously has its pros and cons. Yes, virtual, super, super successful. It was actually the first one that our company had really done. So it was the first time that I'd really seen it. I was actually with Alan. So I was with Alan and his sister kind of wherever we were recording in his house. And so, and streaming. And so that was really an interesting dynamic because, you know, I'm on the phone with Austin and, you know, some of my other staff who are in the studio, just trying to make sure that we're timing everything correctly and making sure Alan's ready to go and camera on, camera off, and mute, unmute, you know, our daily lives on Zoom calls these days. But it really was interesting. And there are parts of obviously the virtual event that Alan he loved. And it kind of gave us these ideas that we're kind of going to be able to use moving forward. The idea of having like a virtual aspect, even when we're able to have an in-person event, I don't think is going anywhere. You'll have people that still want to watch from home, and that's great. And then we're also able to incorporate people on a way more national level than just hosting only the in-person event. And that goes for like speakers as well, or videos, or people watching. It just there's more of a reach for us to include that virtual component. So again, it was awesome. It gave us kind of some ideas on what works, what doesn't work, and how we can kind of make our in-person events better moving forward. So
yeah, exactly. And then like what this whole new world could who knows, right? I mean, if we would have invested in Zoom back in January, I mean, we could have all been doing something right now. So I know we're a little short on time, but let's talk about Alan's Teammate of the Week. And then we'll go ahead and provide all the information to everybody that's watching and where they can go to donate or what they can do. But let us know what Alan's Teammate of the Week is and kind of kick it for everybody that's listening.
Sure. So Alan's Teammate of the Week was a campaign that we decided to launch in January. We were super, super inspired. Our office, we technically were closed down over the holidays, kind of, to unplug, but I was seeing all of these donations flowing in, and I was like, where is this coming from? I'm looking on our socials. I haven't seen anything. And
Barfly,
I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where, but I'm trying to figure out where everything's coming from. And like, honestly, your guys' is one of the first social media that I go to look at. I'm like, okay, what did they post? Like I was looking everywhere. And what we found is that Adam Schefter had retweeted a guy who shared a bunch of NFL player foundations. And basically encouraged people to donate if these guys had helped them win their fantasy leagues or win some money in their fantasy leagues. And people took off on that. And so we were seeing kind of an outpouring of that here and there. And then I think just end of the year promotion and people really trying to get behind the guy. And so we were so inspired by that, decided to kind of launch this campaign in January where we recognize these supporters, right? So each Friday in January, we are kind of highlighting a new teammate of the week. We select them. There's no donation amount necessary, just any amount to be entered. Right. And then we highlight them all over our foundation socials. We tag Alan, we tag, a bunch of media people. And each of these winners, we're asking kind of their why. So you're going to get to kind of see not just them in their Bears gear or whatever, but also hear a little bit about why they chose, kind of the Within Reach Foundation, which was actually pretty inspiring for me too, just to see like the way that people kind of receive Alan and the foundation in that capacity. So anyone can donate. See yourself featured on our socials. Alan, I promise, is watching. He's actually picking the people. I give him kind of the list, and then he picks the people. So,
that's a great program. You already had your first winner. Shay was the first winner. I know. I retweeted it. We retweeted it from the Barfly Tailgate account. That's huge for him. Seems like a great person, and I love the fact that he picked this foundation to donate to. This has been something for us that, I mean, yes, we're obviously Chicago Bears fans and Allen Robinson fans, but as both of us who contribute in our local communities, and yourself, I'm sure as well, it's all about giving back. And when you can find an organization that's like Allen's, that really is trying to do everything they can to give back, it's such an honor for us to be able to partner with you guys and help spread all the positivity that you guys are trying to spread. And Alan himself and Madeline, I can't thank you enough, Austin enough, Alan enough for all the time that you've given to us you know, coming on the shows, you know, Alan signing the footballs for us to give away, which we have one more to give away that we'll be looking to do probably on this Sunday's show. And you guys have been excellent, and we look forward to continuing to help the Within Reach Foundation indefinitely. And just thank you to you guys for partnering up with us.
Just know the appreciation is so mutual. We talk about it all the time. Alan is aware. Even this year, you guys bringing on such a huge corporate sponsor for us as well, that major donation. I mean, it's just, we can't thank you enough. Again, that is kind of where this campaign gets its roots, is to be able to recognize our partners and our supporters. You guys are huge in that. You guys have been huge in spreading the word. And so we really appreciate it. I know you've got one more signed football. If you get selected as a teammate of the week, you also get a signed football. So we're ready. We're ready.
Awesome. Well, Madeline, we want to thank you for your time, for everything you do for the Within Reach Foundation, and, you know, and just giving back to the community and bringing everything to light and helping everybody out. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to many more years in Chicago. You know, we're praying that it stays within reach. And hopefully Alan's here for the long term. But as Ryan said, no matter what, we'll still be right alongside you guys. We appreciate everything, and thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.